Good morning, good afternoon everybody. Welcome to another live stream from me, CK Sim Gaming, doing a live stream today in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Currently we're at Amsterdam Airport at runway 36 left for departures. At the moment we have a Air Europa that's just not long left. That's going to Madrid, and now we have a flight which is going to Düsseldorf, KLM flight to Düsseldorf, just lining up on the runway here. If you want to follow along, please go on to Flight Radar, go to Amsterdam on Flight Radar, and you'll be able to track the aircraft on the runway and on the taxiways at more or less the same time as you see it in the simulator. I'm also using the freeware Amsterdam Scenery that you can get from Flightsim.to. The next aircraft that is going to be lining up on the runway is a KLM flight, KLM 19K, which is the flight to Stockholm Arlanda. It is a Boeing 737-800. I'm using a combination of models from FSLTL AI models and also models from the AIG packages. I'm also using a plugin called PSXT for MSFS. Also a freeware package also works for P3D and P3D and FSX, and using a plugin called Real Traffic, which works with X-Plane, Flightsimx, P3D and MSFS. For X-Plane you will need the live traffic plugin to see the traffic, and with P3D and MSFS you need to have PSXT. The next aircraft along shortly will be an EasyJet flight going to Stansted. This will be an Airbus A319. If some of the flights don't appear in the sim, it's probably because of model matching. So I don't have all the models. What I've done is I've tried to do it so that if so you don't see any crazy things. So for example, it won't try and substitute airlines. So I'm trying to keep things as more or less realistic as possible. So if you do notice there's planes on the runway that aren't in the sim, it's probably because I don't have the model and the livery for it. So off goes the flight to Arlanda. We have a few planes that are on their way to the runway as I speak. If you look on Flight Radar, you can see some planes taxiing up through the airport as I write. We have some aircraft. Hopefully they will show up, but as I said, if they don't, it'll just be down to model matching. Hopefully as time gets on there'll be more models and liveries. If you like this video, please click on the like, and if you want to also subscribe, that's up to you, and then you'll get notified. I will be trying to do live streams like this around from other airports from around the world in MSFS. Coming up in the next few days will be a live stream from Athens using the Fly Tampa scenery. So as you can see, this Airbus here going to Stansted is going to be going to another holding point because it doesn't need the whole length of the runway. This is an EasyJet Europe flight. EasyJet flight 78 Victor Alpha, or U27839 and A319-100. There will be a little bit of a quiet spell as we wait for some more planes to taxi up. Coming up shortly should be a China Airlines flight, a flight from TUI, and also a flight with Vueling. They'll be appearing shortly on your right hand side. You might also sometimes hear the sound of seagulls in the background. If you do, that's because I live near the sea. And yeah. So off goes the flight to Stansted. I hope you're all having a nice day today. I also stream on Twitch. Username on Twitch is CKSim Gaming. I do mainly simulation games, so I do a bit of streaming of like flight simulators, some MSFS streams now and again, also Euro Truck Simulator, American Truck Simulator, Train Simulator, and Train Sim World. The simulations that I tend to stream from time to time. So there goes the flight to Stansted. There's a whole line of planes all coming up now, all following one another. As I said, if you have Flight Radar, open up Flight Radar on your desktop or a mobile app, and you can see at the same time the aircraft come along to the runway as I see them. There is a little bit of a delay between the stream and Flight Radar, maybe about 30 seconds or so. So if you see a plane taken off on Flight Radar, it's probably just about to take off in the sim. Next flight should be China Airlines flight CAL-074, which is an A350 aircraft. That flight is going to Taipei. That should be the next aircraft that should be appearing on the right hand side. In fact, I can always just pan the camera over like so. Let's see what's coming up next. There you can just about see the tails. Now if it doesn't appear in the sim, it's, as I said, model matching. So there's the aircraft there, China Airlines. Just about see the city of Amsterdam there in the distance as well. Behind that we should have a flight to Rhodes, a TUI flight, TUI Netherlands. Again, if it doesn't appear, it might be because I don't have the model. As again, the airport scenery is the freeware Amsterdam Scenery. You can get on flightsim.to. There is the TUI flight as well behind. TUI Netherlands. It's a 737-8. It's a 737 Max 8. That one. And then behind that we should also have a flight to Stockholm, which should be behind the Viewlin. Hopefully. There we are. There's the SAS flight there heading to Stockholm, and then there's another one behind that as well. So anyway, let's wait until this flight to Taipei is leaving. Again, the China Airlines flight to Taipei, an A350-900. Taking off from runway 36 left. The TUI aircraft is about to line up behind. It might have to wait a little bit before it can leave itself. This TUI flight is going to Rhodes in there, and then behind that we have a Viewlin flight which is going to Barcelona, which is an A321. CEO. Current engine option. They also do have some Neos as well. So off goes the flight to China. Just going to lower the camera down a little bit there. I'm using the drone cam in Microsoft Flight Simulator with an Xbox controller. Just means that you can pan around and do little things a little bit better. Now we're getting quite a line up there. We've got Stockholm flight. Now we've been joined by an A330 here from Delta. That is a flight that's going to Minneapolis. Delta flight 161. Anyway, let's get back to the TUI flight, which is now just leaving, which is going to Rhodes. And then we have the Vueling flight to Barcelona, just about to line up on the runway now. Next to that we have a SAS flight. That is the next to come onto the runway. That's a flight going operated by SAS Connect, and it's an A320 Neo heading to Stockholm Arlanda. Behind that we have an A330 going to Minneapolis. Behind the A330 we should have a Singapore Airlines A350 joining us. That's be going to Singapore. That should be lining up soon behind the Delta A330. And behind the Singapore Airlines we have a 787-900 Dreamliner, a KLM flight, also going to Minneapolis. Same destination as this A330 here. There goes the flight to Stockholm. A350 should be coming up shortly. There's the A350 and then the Dreamliner behind. Here comes the Singapore Airlines flight now. Flight numbers 323 going to Singapore, an A350-900. Delta flight just heading off now, heading to Minneapolis. And over here we have a KLM flight also going to Minneapolis, 787-900. That looks like it might be it for the departures for a moment or two. There goes the flight there. KLM flight 655 going to Minneapolis. We also have a cargo logic aircraft just flying over the top of Amsterdam at the moment. I don't know if we'll be able to pick that up in the simulator or not. It might not be possible because of the range that I have set at the minute. You can just see the city of Amsterdam in the distance. There goes the flight to, there goes the Minneapolis flight. You can just about see the Singapore Airlines flight in the foreground, just in front of it there, following the SID out of Amsterdam. And there you go. As the aircraft goes further away, then it will disappear because of the level of distance on the aircraft model. Right, the next aircraft to come along to the runway looks like there's an Emirates flight to Dubai that is heading on its way over here. A 777-300. I don't know if we can see it from here in the distance, or it might be just pushing back. There's an Emirates aircraft just over there. So we're just having a look towards the aircraft terminal there in the distance. Again, this is the freeware Amsterdam that you can get from Flightsim.to. You also need to have the Asobo version, which is in one of the versions of Flight Simulator you get, and I can't remember if it's with the premium edition. So you might need to have the premium edition for you to because the freeware add-on isn't a complete replacement of the airport. It uses bits from the version that comes with the simulator as well. But depending on which version of the simulator you have, you might not have this version of Amsterdam in the first place. It does give all the details on the Flightsim.to page about what add-ons you need. You also need to have some libraries as well. Again, everything is listed on the Flightsim.to page. This mod is for the PC only. If you have an Xbox, it won't be available for it, unfortunately. Although you will have the Amsterdam that comes with the sim. Interesting day around here today. Just having a look around. Lots of constructions cranes as well, and I'm also using the Love VFR, which I think is adding some of the cranes around the vicinity. Pardon me there, apologies. Can also see some wind turbines as well, and some transmission towers and things like that as well, I think, over in the distance and over there. And it's about to make out the city of Amsterdam as I'm moving around. And then there's the Martinair cargo area over there. Building. Interesting shaped house there in the field. I'm sure that house isn't like that in reality, if there is a house there at all. There's some various buildings looking over towards the airport there. You can see the control tower. Now, Flight Amper, I believe, are working on a version of Amsterdam for MSFS, so one thing to look out for. But if you're on a budget, then obviously this freeware version is a good alternative. There's a KLM aircraft there, just coming out from behind the buildings. We do have some more aircraft taxiing out at the moment, heading towards this runway. We have an American Airlines flight to Philadelphia heading over here. So it should be over in a couple of minutes. And behind that looks like we have a KLM flight, a 777-300. It doesn't show up on flight radar yet where it's heading to, so I have to keep an eye on that. Obviously somewhere quite far away, although you could be surprised. So again, I'm in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm at Amsterdam. We're just looking at runway 36 left at the moment, where all the departures seem to be from at the moment. I'm using various plugins. I'm using the aircraft models are from AIG and FSLTL, and I'm using two plugins. One is called PSXT, which is what injects the aircraft into the simulator, and then another plugin called Real Traffic, which PSXT uses. So Real Traffic is a bit like a flight radar. It displays all the aircraft that are flying around using their ADS-B transponders. PSXT reads that data stream and then injects the relevant models into the sim. If you have flight radar, you can look on flight radar and you'll be able to see the aircraft more or less matching where they are in the sim. We have a KLM flight on its way up here at the moment. We have an Embraer 175 heading to Genoa. That should be the next aircraft coming along here, so we have to keep an eye out for that. See if we can see it hiding in through those trees as it makes its way along towards the runway. fact, that looks like that's using a different runway. And let's see if we can see it. I think that's on the other 36 runway. There we are. It's catching me out there. So you can just see it now lining up on here. So the other aircraft are going to be coming across shortly. And they will be lining up to wait and holding for this other aircraft to take off. So you can see various aircraft taxiing out there. You can see the Emirates aircraft, the American Airlines Dreamliner, and then we have the Embraer here. And I'll have to just keep an eye on that in case they're going to change the runway, which they might have done. Looks like they might be doing that. So I'm going to head over to this runway now, which it looks like to be the runway now that they're going to be doing the departures from. Just have to keep an eye on that. This is now 36 Centre. So just going to watch this Embraer start taking off. Yes, it looks like they're heading down here now. So it looks like they've changed the runway at Amsterdam. So now taking off on 36 Centre. This is why really you can't leave the sim to let it go on and do something, because, you know, just like in real life, they do change the runways. So you can't really go away from the keyboard for 10 minutes, otherwise you'd all be looking at a runway with nothing on it, and you'd be like screaming at yourself thinking, well, the runway's a different one now. So the next aircraft that's taxiing down is a American Airlines flight to Philadelphia, American Airlines flight 203, which is a Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Behind that we have an Emirates flight there, a 777-300 heading down as well. I don't know if they change the runways, you know, quite often at Amsterdam. I don't really know Amsterdam that well. I know at Heathrow, for example, they changed which runways are used for takeoffs and landings. You know, like they'll use one way in the mornings for takeoffs, and then they change the runway in the afternoon and swap them round. So maybe the same thing happens here, you know, to reduce some runway wear. Maybe at a certain time of day they change over, and aircraft then use a different runway for taking off on. Certainly saves a bit on the fuel though, doesn't it? Because obviously, you know, having to taxi to the other runway. Now where's he heading off to? Interesting. Now I'm very confused. Where's he going? Is he coming down here? Why would he be coming down here? Okay. Have to keep my eye on this. Is it because in reality now they've extended this runway? So is it going to be turning onto the runway here, and in the sim it's still showing up as a glass? I have to let you, someone have to let me know on that. Very interesting though. Where is he going? We also have a Lufthansa flight here, heading to Munich. There was another flight that's taxiing along at the moment, but I can't seem to pick that up. Or is that over there? No. For some reason it didn't pick that other flight up. I don't know why. Okay, seems to be going around the houses today. Interesting. Maybe they changed their mind and then they decided they didn't want to go on this runway. I really don't know. There is a oh, is that an aircraft there? It might be one of those aircraft that hasn't had the livery spawned in properly. I can see some lights. It does look, now that they've This okay, this Lufthansa is taking off on this runway here. This is heading to Munich. Amsterdam flight, Lufthansa flight to Munich here. Now, that is now heading up to the other runway I've just been at. 36 left, it looks like. Okay, I have to zoom over to 36 left in a moment. There goes the flight to Munich, an A319. Now, is the now, interestingly enough, the Emirates flight is also going to be lining up on 36 Centre as well. Maybe it was to do with the runway length on this one, you know, because this is going to Philadelphia, which is quite a long flight, relatively. So it might be heavier. So maybe they realised that they couldn't really use this runway to take off, so they're now going to taxi to the other one. But they could have literally just gone across the runway at a different point there, so I'm not sure what's going on there. There we go. Now we got the flight, Emirates flight 145 going to Dubai. So we've got to keep an eye on that now, because we're going to have to do a bit of juggling, because there's planes on 36 Centre and 36 left. Now, if you were actually in Amsterdam in real life and you'd positioned yourself down by the runway, it's a little bit harder to move around, but at least in the simulator it's a little bit easier to move yourself about. So there's the Emirates flight there, 777-300 heading to Dubai. Now it looks like the okay, that's interesting, even the BA City Flyer looks like that'll be heading to London City. That Embraer there is also heading around to the other runway. So yeah, it's very interesting. Very interesting. Just got to keep an eye out here now. Right, so there goes the Emirates flight there. Just keeping track on that at the same time, and then I'm gonna slowly move my way over to the other runway. Looks like there's a United flight taxiing out as well. Be interesting to see which runway he's going to be using. There goes the Emirates flight. And then on the other runway. Now the KLM aircraft hasn't showed up, although I can see the lights for it. So I think it's one of these models that that sometimes the sim doesn't put in properly. So you can just about see the lights for it there. That's actually a KLM flight heading to Aberdeen. It was an Embraer 190. So apologies for that. It's just one of those weird sim things that happens now and again. Next flight coming along is the flight to Philadelphia. So interestingly, what have we got now? So we got this flight to Philadelphia coming out. We have a Amsterdam to London City flight that is taxiing over to the runway. It's a long taxi here, isn't it? It's got quite a long way to go. We also have an aircraft that's just about to line up on the runway, I think, over here. So they're now using two runways, just to make things even more of a juggling act for me. And then we have the United flight to Houston, which is taxiing down, I think, as well. Now, is that going to be coming round here? Or is that going to be taken off on the runway as well? That's a 777-200. Now that flight doesn't show up on flight radar. It does show the flight, but it doesn't actually tell me where it's going. So I've got no idea where that Embraer is going, unfortunately. Maybe in flight radar it will show up at some point. Just trying to keep an eye out what's going on here. So this is the American Airlines flight to Philadelphia. Flight number 21. United 21. The Embraer has left now, but I don't know where it's going. Has it taken off yet? I think it was just about to take off. There it is now. It's just coming down the runway. So yeah, it's a little bit of a bit of juggling at the minute. All right, let's just wait and watch this aircraft take off. It looks like the United flight is heading its way around. So this is American Airlines flight to Philadelphia here, just about to leave, and then we have a an Embraer heading to London City as well. Making its way up towards the runway here. So some aircraft are taken off now from 36 centre, and some are taken off, like this one, from 36 left. Of course, an aircraft are also arriving at Amsterdam as well. So off goes that, and then we'll have the city flyer heading off. There's also another Embraer 175 that's just taken off from 36 centre, or is just about to take off. As I said, there's a little bit of delay between what you see on the sim and what flight radar shows you. So it's just taken off from flight radar, but it's just coming down the runway now in the sim. Now again, I don't know where that's heading to. Again, there's no destination. It's KLM flight 26 uniform. So that's just heading off now. And we have a City Flyer, British Airways flight, operated by City Flyer Express, or BA City Flyer. It's a Embraer 190. Heading to London City. Where we will have a United Airlines flight coming up soon as well to take off. We have another City Flyer, a City Hopper flight. This is an Embraer 195. That is heading to Bologna. That's now taken off on 36 centre. There's the United Airlines 777 making its way up to this runway. And there is the Embraer to Bologna, just taking off from the centre runway. A very tall building there in the distance. Looks a bit like a Saturn V rocket, that. From here. There's a plane that's just arrived behind. I can just see a plane that's just landed. The reversers showing there. There goes the flight to Bologna. And then we should have the EasyJet, not EasyJet, City Flyer about to line up on the runway as well. That's heading to London City. It's all going on now. So we can see both aircraft at the same time. Right, let's just focus on the BA flight now. Quite a long taxi for that aircraft as well. The taxi at London City should be a little bit shorter. there's the other flight there. It's just doing a right hand turn on the SID. This one will probably be doing a turn slightly to the left at some point, I guess, sort of heading in the northwest direction. And then we have the United Airlines flight coming up soon as well. Which is heading to Houston in Texas. On 36 Center, we have a Airbus A319 of Croatia Airlines heading to Zagreb. Is that going to be taking off on 36 Center? We also have a Finnair A350 heading to Helsinki. That will be, I think, taking off from this runway. While that's on its way over here, let's have a look to see on 36 Center to see if we can see the Croatia Airlines flight. Which I think is that is it there, I think. So there's a Croatian Airlines flight to Zagreb. And then over here, more in the middle of the runway, we should see a Finnair flight. There we are in the it's got a special livery on that one. Now I'm guessing that is that going to be coming down here as well. I don't know. Have to wait and see. It looks like it's heading down towards the other runway now, although you just never know what's going to happen. I've just got to keep an eye on flight radar now because I don't want to miss the other flight taking off. Right, let's just have a quick gander around here at the left runway. Where is the 777 now? Oh, it's almost here. Not far to go. So yeah, double taking offs from 36 left and centre at the minute. I think the Croatia Airlines flight is now rolling down the runway. Let's have a quick look back here. Yeah, it's coming down now, going to Zagreb. We also have some other aircraft coming through now as well in the distance there, taxiing along. So it's going to be a little bit of a juggling act now, which one way to go to. Let's just passing the Finnair now. Let's get back to this one. And the United flight to Houston, Texas is just lining up on the runway now. This is flight number United 21. A Boeing 777-200. We have an aircraft on approach from Los Angeles, KLM 604. That is behind me doing a landing at the minute. It's all going on now. The Croatian Airlines aircraft is now taking off, and on the runway now we have an ITA Airways flight to Rome, an A320neo. So let's head over there. Now this one is put it in the sim in Alitalia livery. There's the flight to Los Angeles I was telling about just a few moments ago. That's just landed. It's just slowing down now in the distance there. So yeah, this is in Alitalia, the older livery. Well, before, you know, everything changed. Now the actual aircraft in flight radar is, we've got the blue livery. The Helsinki flight seems to be coming around and going round on the outer there. And we also have another ITA flight as well, but that time it's actually displaying the right livery. We have a BA flight as well heading to Heathrow, an A320neo, that's just taxiing around at the minute. So there goes the Alitalia flight to Rome. Takes off and then does a right-hand turn there. Have we got any aircraft landing at the minute? We have a flight from London, London City, about to land. I love the design on the back of that Finnair. It makes me think of some mugs that I used to have years and years ago. There's the flight to Heathrow, so that's also going round to take off on runway 36 left. Let's have a look at the other runway over here. Let's see if there's anything on approach. Should be a flight from London City coming in, which I believe is that it there in the distance. I'm not sure. It could be one of these models that hasn't showed up. As I said, I had an issue with one of the Embraers earlier not showing up, so it could be related to that as well. So, because it should be landing about now. Let's have a look. Is this it here? That looks like an Embraer, doesn't it? Yeah, this is the Embraer flight coming in now. Just having a quick look up the runways. There is an airport vehicle up by 36 left at the moment, but they won't show up in the simulator. So while those other planes are taxiing up, I'm just going to have a quick look to see what we got in here. So this is the flight from London City arriving, and then behind that there's a bigger aircraft, a Delta Airlines A330 from Minneapolis, which is also coming in as well behind. We have two aircraft taxiing up to 36 left. We also have this flight here heading to Milan, which I'm just going to wait for this one to land here. That is from London City. That's just arriving. There we go, nicely on the touchdown zone now. Right, so let's have a look round again at the at 36 Centre. We have a ITA flight going to Milan, Linate, that one. And then we have a flight to Vienna just behind. There's the other two taxiing up there to 36 left. There's the flight to Milan, and then not far behind that we have a flight going to Frankfurt, a Lufthansa flight, which is an A320. No, sorry, it's an A319. There goes the flight to Milan. So we'll have to keep an eye on those ones. I might have to try and get the Finnair taken off on 36 left when I can, but I'm just going to try and focus on these for now. There's the KLM flight going to Vienna, just lining up on the runway. KLM 37 Lima lining up on the runway behind. We also have another Embraer that is making its way up along towards the runway. Let's see, is it showing up here now? No, interestingly enough. Which is heading to Inverness. Now let's have a look, is it there? Nope. So yeah, there is on flight radar another Embraer E190 though. That is going to be going to Inverness, but it's not showing up in the sim. Here goes the Amsterdam to Vienna flight just about to go. And then we have this Embraer here, which is going to Lyon, which is about just to line up on the one-way, with the Lufthansa flight going to Frankfurt, waiting in the other holding point there. Still got the other two aircraft taxiing down to 36 left. Now, interestingly enough, both planes are going to be taxiing onto the runway at the same time. Obviously, one is going to be told to wait and hold for the other one. There goes the flight to Vienna, just taking off in the distance. 737-800. This, the KLM flight there in front of you on the runway is KLM flight 95 Alpha, an Embraer 195 heading to Lyon. I'm guessing that we'll be making a kind of a left turn after takeoff, and then the Lufthansa aircraft will be making a bit of a right turn. Although I can't promise you that. There's also a Delta Airlines flight taxiing out there in the distance. An A330 that looks like. Might have to quickly nip over to runway 36 left again to watch the departures of these other ones. Yeah, I can see the lights again of the Embraer. So it's another one of those models that is just showing the lights in the sim. Oh, looks like the data just data stream went a little bit funny there. The Lufthansa flight has vanished, but it will probably appear again in a sec. Just having a quick look over on here. If you want to follow along, also you can do on flight radar. Right, I'm going to probably be heading back over towards runway 36 left in a second. Because there seems to be quite a few planes that are just heading that way now, ready to take off, so I better head back down there. Right, so there goes the Lufthansa flight. So while we watch that take off down the runway, I'm going to head over to runway 36 left for the next departures. Quite a few heavies making their way out as well. Hopefully some of them will be heading over to the 36 left, which is where we're heading to right now. There's the A350 of Finnair heading to Helsinki, just taxiing along. We'll be taking off from 36 left soon. This is Finnair flight 9 Alpha Delta heading to Helsinki. Behind that we have an A320 Neo heading to London Heathrow. And then there's some other aircraft as well. I hope you're enjoying the stream so far. If you like the stream, please click a like. And if you want to get notified when there's more content, you can always subscribe also to my YouTube channel. I will be doing various live streams like this from different airports around the world. The next airport which I'll probably be doing will be Athens, using the Flightsimulator scenery for Microsoft Flight Simulator. At the same time, on 36 Centre, there is a Transavia flight heading to Innsbruck, which is about to take off. Unfortunately, it's very hard to juggle between the two runways now. So we'll hopefully see a little bit of the Transavia flight heading off to Innsbruck in a minute. Once this one's lifted off, hopefully I can pan the camera to the right a little bit and you'll be able to see the Transavia flight leaving as well. So there goes the A350, and then the BA flight is the next one to line up on the runway. Flight BA41 Romeo heading to London Heathrow. See if we can catch a glimpse of this Transavia flight heading to Innsbruck as well. On the right hand side, hopefully. We'll have to wait and see. So that is now lifting up. See if we can see anything yet. There we go. There's the Transavia flight there, heading off. Now there are some other aircraft here, but for whatever reason they've not spawned into the sim. As I said, I can see the lights for them. If you zoom out, I can see where the lights are there. There is a flight going to Bergen, which again is in the Embraer E190. What I might do is I might just restart my plugin, and then they might actually show up. So just bear with me while I just reset my plugin here. Means I have to turn it off and turn it back on, and then let's see if they appear then. Sometimes that works. So I'm just restarting the plugin, and they might show up. They might not though, but we'll give it a go. So I've just restarted it in the sim, and it'll take about 20 seconds or so for the aircraft to show up again. But the aircraft now, if it does show up, is heading to Bergen. So we'll just have to wait and see if it loads up now. Be interesting if it does. There is an aircraft taking off in the distance there. That is the BA flight heading off. So no sign of the Embraers. Never mind. I might have to do a sim restart for that to happen. I won't be doing a sim restart though, but that's probably why. The other aircraft is also an Embraer 190 of the same type, so it's probably related to that. So at the minute, any Embraer 190s aren't showing up in the simulator, but probably a restart of the simulator at some point will probably make them come back. So there we go. Unfortunately, that is that for now. Right, so I'm just going to head back towards runway 36 center as we have an LL flight about to take off. So I'm going to be heading off that way. There goes a Embraer there as well. Right, let's just have a quick go back down to the runway because the flight to Tel Aviv is about to leave. ELY 338, this one. So you can see some Embraers are showing up in the simulator, but not all of them. So there's the LL aircraft there. And then we have next to that one, we have a E175 heading to Poznan. And then we have a Wilhelmstad, a Boeing 787 Dreamliner, Wilhelmstad, and behind, or quite close by, is a KLM flight going to Munich, which I believe is just coming along through that taxiway over there. You can just see an arriving aircraft. You can also see a lot Polish Embraer that's just arrived, and a Boeing 777 of KLM that's just arrived as well. We have some aircraft that will be taking off soon from 36 left also. So there goes the LL flight there. So it's all a bit crazy at the minute. We have 2 Delta flights taxiing out to 36 left at the moment. Both A330s, one going to New York and one going to Boston. The Boston flight you can just about see there on the left of your screen, in the middle there, taxiing over. There's the LL flying the SID there. Take off and then a quick right turn. We have this aircraft here as well, which is heading to, I said this already, Poznan, wasn't it? Looks like the other aircraft are coming round the other side, so we'll just plonk ourselves here and then watch the aircraft coming by. They're heading up to runway 36 left, which is where I'll be heading to again in a moment or two, to get these departures. Once this one starts its takeoff roll, I'll probably have to zoom over to 36 left again to watch the American bound flights leave, the America bound flights. There's the TUI Dreamliner just about to come past. Followed behind by the flight to Edinburgh. Okay, so now I'm going to quickly zoom over to the other runway, where the flights heading to America are about to leave. We have an A330 of Delta, which is Delta Flight 49, heading to JFK, and then behind that we have Delta Flight 259 heading to Boston. Again, if you have flight radar on your PC or on your mobile or tablet, you can open it up and you can more or less track the aircraft movements at Amsterdam at the same time that I do. So if you look on flight radar right now, you can see these 2 aircraft here taxiing up to this runway. And then you can also see the other flight, the Embraer flight to the Embraer heading to Poznan, also in the distance there after just leaving runway 36 center. I will be ending the stream at 12 o'clock UK time, so about another half an hour. We have another aircraft departing on 36 Center, a Embraer 190 heading to Munich, but it probably won't see it, as I said, because all the Embraer 190s aren't showing up in the sim at the minute, although I think after a restart of the sim they will be. There goes the flight to JFK, off over at the Atlantic, probably be passing over part of the UK on the way. And then behind that is a flight heading to Boston. Be interesting to see which airways they're going to be taking. Are they going to be flying quite close to each other all the way over towards the States? Maybe one will be flying slightly faster than the other and will overtake the other. Who knows? Maybe this aircraft here heading to Boston will arrive, will overtake the other on the way. You just never know. Both are A330-300s. The Delta flight that's just left is a Neo though, So that is an A330neo just departing, which is the newer newer A330s. This is an A330-300. Just about to roll down the runway there. Behind that we have a flight going to Stavanger in Norway. That again is another E190, so I don't think that'll be showing up in the thim. Just have a look there, there's the A330. Try and get both in the shot at the same time. I don't know how long it will be before the A330 in the distance will disappear because of the model's level of distance that they have, level of detail. So after a certain distance they disappear to save on frames. Just trying to keep both in the shot really as they both head off into the distance. You can see that the first A330 heading to New York is now making a left turn as part of the SID, no doubt. And then there you go, there it's disappeared where the model's got to a certain distance away. You can see where the wind, there's a little bit of a wind there pushing the plane, which is why it's having to turn slightly to the right there as it's lifting off. Now this embryo probably won't show up, but you might be able to see the lights for it. There, you can see the lights there. We have an aircraft taking off in the distance there. That looks like, is that an Air Malta flight there? Let's just have a quick look. Yeah, there's an Air Malta flight just leaving from 36 Centre there. I might just pop back over to a 36 Centre. We'll just have to keep an eye out. There is a couple of heavies on the way up as well though, isn't there? There's the TUI 787 that's heading up here as well. So I think I should just park myself here maybe for a moment. There is a KLM 737-800 about to take off from 36 Centre as well. So there's quite a few. We also have a United Airlines 767-400 making its way out towards the runway. That's going to be going to Washington DC. Let's have a quick look over here towards 36 Centre. So there goes the 800. And then there's a 800 taxiing down here at the minute as well, with the TUI a bit behind. You can also see a stadium there in the distance. I don't know which stadium that is. Is that where Ajax play maybe? In fact, I can see a couple. There's another one in front of my viewpoint there. So there goes the flight to Istanbul, 737-800. And then let's have a look at the runway over there. You can just about see the 767-400 of United. It's in Star Alliance colours. There is an Embraer, I think, taxiing up here as well. And we also have there's the 800 just about to take off, which is going to Prague. And then behind that we have a flight. Let's have a look. That's interesting. Where's that play aircraft? There we go. That's going to Keflavik, the play. And we also have an Airbus of EasyJet heading to Luton as well. So there's quite a few aircrafts around doing some taxiing at the minute. There's an aircraft that doesn't know whether it's climbing or thinking. Don't worry about that. It's sometimes a data stream that the plugin gets. Sometimes you get little weird things happen from time to time. Right, let's just keep an eye on this. We have the TUI aircraft just about to come onto the runway. That is going to Willemstad, 787-8 Dreamliner. And then behind that we have a flight going to Edinburgh, a Boeing 737-800 flight, KLM flight 1281. This flight here just leaving is TUI flight TFL 351. That flight there is heading to Edinburgh. We also have another Embraer 175 that is going to Gothenburg. That will be coming in from our right hand side over there. Just need to slow the drone cam down a little bit there. There we go. There goes the TUI Dreamliner. Right, I'm going to be AFK for a few moments, so yeah, I'm just going to keep focused on this runway. So we have the flight to Edinburgh, and then we have a flight heading to Gothenburg, and then an EasyJet flight heading to Luton. As I said before, if you want to track these aircraft yourself, please use Flight Radar on your desktop or your app on your phone or tablet, and you'll be able to see the aircraft movements as I do in the sim. So it won't be long, just away for a couple of minutes, so I'll be back shortly. Right everyone, I'm back. Sorry about that. We have a Air Canada flight just heading down now, heading towards Toronto. We have a flight to Billund, but as I've mentioned a little bit earlier, some of the Embraer 190 models aren't appearing in my sim. So it's probably there. You can just about make it out there, the light zoomed out, but when I zoom into it, the plane itself is invisible. So probably need to do a sim restart, which I won't be doing at the moment. We are on 36 left at the moment. We're just watching this Air Canada flight taxiing down here. There are some aircraft also taking off on 36 centre, but the bigger ones tend to be heading off on 36 left. Not all though. There has been some heavy flights, like an LL flight about 15 minutes ago that was heading to Tel Aviv that took off from 36 centre. This is a Boeing 777-300. Flight number is flight 809, Air Canada flight N809, this one. If you want to track the aircraft, just open up Flight Radar with your mobile or your desktop or tablet, and then you'll be able to watch the aircraft movements like I do. We have some aircraft also taxiing up towards the runway. 36 left at the moment, as you can see on Flight Radar. They'll be here in a few minutes' time. I like the way that this 777 also has that kind of dark outline there on the cockpit windows, a bit like the A350s and the A320 Neos have, and the A330 Neos. It's a flight heading to Toronto there. We have an aircraft landing as well at the moment. We have a flight from Keflavik, Boeing 767-300 of Iceland Air. I'll see if I can catch that one landing. If I pan around, might be able to see that landing in the distance. There's a lot of runways in use. Sometimes, you know, when you do a stream from, say, somewhere like Gatwick, it's a lot easier because Gatwick only has one runway, so you can't really miss the arrivals and the departures. So there goes the Air Canada flight there. So I'm just going to quickly pan around and see if we can see the Iceland Air flight arriving. Or not. It's going to be over there somewhere. Let's see if we can see it. There's a flight leaving at the moment as well. Flight going to Berlin, 737-800. The Iceland Air flight. Now, where are you? Where is it? Could be one of those models that's not showing up in the sim though, although that would be surprising because yeah, it doesn't look like it showed up. Never mind. Sometimes they will show up in the sim and sometimes they won't. We've got another Delta A330 heading down here as well. You have another aircraft taking off now. That is heading to Paris Charles de Gaulle. Well, hopefully it's heading to Paris Charles de Gaulle. Sometimes the data stream is a little bit not always very reliable, so sometimes you'll get weird things happening like this. So don't worry, the real plane isn't doing that. It will probably There we go. And the stream will catch up with itself, and then the plane will end up going back to where it was in the stream. Just trying to capture a glimpse if I can see that Iceland there or not. Never mind. Right, we do have some other aircraft taxiing up here though. Oh, there we are. We've got a flight now just about to taxi onto the runway. It's a flight going to Toronto, 777-200, KLM flight 31. Looks like a football trophy, doesn't it, that control tower there? Looks like the sort of thing you would hold up, you know, a cup, football cup. Then behind that we have a flight heading to Chicago, a Boeing 787-10. It's flight KLM 611. This flight here in front of us now is heading to Toronto. The stream will be finishing in around 10 minutes time, so if you like the stream, please like. If you want to see more of these streams, please subscribe and click the little bell as well for notifications when I'm next streaming. I also stream on Twitch with the same username as my YouTube channel, Twitch CK Sim Gaming. Also stream different simulation games on there, Euro Trucks, American Trucks, Train Simulator, Train Sim World 3, and the occasional Microsoft Flight Simulator stream as well. There goes the Chicago flight now, just taxiing onto 36 left. You can hear some seagulls, don't worry, they're not in the sim. It's just I live near the coast in England, so some seagulls around. There the 777 in the distance lifts off, heading to Canada, and this flight here is heading to Chicago. We have a 737-800 also taxiing along. That is going to be going to Copenhagen. No call sign for that one just yet though on flight radar, so can't tell you what the flight number is for that one. And then behind that we have a Delta Airlines flight as well, which you'll be seeing appearing on your right hand side very soon. It looks like it's an A330. My next airport stream for aircraft live spotting will be Athens, using the Flightsimulator Scenery. That will be the next stream that I'll be doing on YouTube with the AI traffic in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. The A330 is going to be heading to Minneapolis, and hopefully will be appearing on your screen very soon. Still waiting for a flight number for the this flight here. Still nothing yet. There is the A330 there to Minneapolis, just taxiing along. Going to be joining us shortly. There is an aircraft about to take off from 36 Center, which is a no call sign as well. German Airways, Embraer 190. I don't know if I'll have that in the sim. I'll quickly pan over in a moment and see if I can see it on the runway. There goes the flight to Copenhagen. So Just going to have a quick look over there before the A330 taxis onto the runway to see if that Embraer is showing up in the sim or not. And there it is. There. I don't know where that aircraft is going. On flight radar it doesn't tell me the call sign or where the destination is, so no idea. You can see some other aircraft taxiing out now as well. We have a A350 off Cathay Pacific about to take off on runway 36 Centre as well. An A350 1000. Let's just quickly see if I can spot it from here through the trees. There we are. So there we go. It's just turning on 36 Centre. And on 36 left we have a flight going to Minneapolis, a A330 of Delta about to take off. We have a Boeing 787 Dreamliner taxiing up to the runway as well. That is going to be flight number KLM 677 going to Calgary. That is... My drone is being barked at by a dog. Luckily, it can't jump up and grab it. There's the Calgary flight there, just taxiing in over there. Just watch the rest of these aircraft take off, heading off to Minneapolis. This is Delta Flight 163. The A350, it's just lifting off now from the runway, so I might just have a quick pan over there in a sec and you'll be able to see the A350 lifting off, heading to Hong Kong, which is Cathay Pacific Flight 270. Let's see if we can see the Cathay Pacific flight heading off as well. There we are. There goes the A350 heading off to Hong Kong, doing a right turn there. Interesting SID there. I might have to do that SID myself in Microsoft Flight Simulator at some point. Not sure which SID that is, what the name of it that one is. The departure there. Nice shot there of the Dreamliner, the A350 and a smaller Embraer behind. This aircraft here is going to Calgary. 787-9 Dreamliner, and behind that we have a little Embraer aircraft that is heading to Aalborg in Denmark. Flight number KLM 1333. That's going to sit and wait at the holding point there. We have a Boeing 787-10 Dreamliner taking off from runway 36 Centre at the moment, KLM flight 565. That might be visible shortly. If I just zoom out a little bit, you'll be able to see that take off. There it is. Just about to do its right hand side turn there, heading to Nairobi. There's the flight heading to Aalborg here. A little KLM City Hopper Embraer 175. I might just quickly pop over to the 36 Centre in a moment. I will be ending the stream in a couple of minutes. Hope you've enjoyed the stream. As I said, if you've liked the stream, please click on like. If you want to see more of these kind of videos, please click on subscribe as well and hit the bell for notifications. Right, so while that one's doing that, I'm going to zoom out and then we're going to head over to runway 36 Centre, where there's some aircraft ready to leave. Over here, some heavies, he says. Not so heavy, but there you go. We've got a we did have an A330 taken off, but for some reason that's not showing up in the sim. Oh, there it is. Finally showed up. An A330-200 going to Mumbai in India. We have a 737-800 about to go to Lisbon, and then behind there we have a Air Astana flight heading to Attirau. I can't really pronounce that one, unfortunately. That's an A321 Neo. Apologies for the pronunciation there. You can just about see the A330 there on the SID. You can see the Air Astana aircraft is going to be using a different holding point as well. We also have another 737 behind. That looks like that's heading to Athens. And then behind that we have an Embraer 190, which again is not showing up at the moment. You can just see the lights for it there when I zoom out. But for some reason the model's not appearing in the sim just as lights, but sometimes you have to restart the sim for the plane to show up properly, which I won't be doing at the minute for obvious reasons, because it'll take too long. So I'm just going to watch these aircraft depart here, and then that will be the end of the stream for today. The Embraer is just heading off down the runway, which you cannot see. That is going to Basel, or Basel, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's in Switzerland anyway. The Air Astana aircraft is the next one to line up on the runway. Also the KLM is lining up on the runway, and that will be waiting, I guess, for the other aircraft to depart first. KLM flight is heading to Lisbon, and the other KLM 737 you can see in there is heading to Athens. My next flight sim stream like this will be from Athens, and will be another day, possibly tomorrow. We'll be using the Flightsimulator airport scenery for that stream. It's quite good that we've ended the stream with a flight going to Athens, just as our next stream is going to be from Athens. Yesterday's live stream was from Gatwick Airport. If you want to see that in the YouTube channel, just click and you should be able to see the video pop up from yesterday. Those were departures on runway 08 right. There goes the A321 of Air Astana, just about to take off. And hopefully next time I do a stream from Amsterdam, the Embraer 190 STDs will show up. There goes the flight to Athens now. The Air Astana flight ahead of it. As I said, an interesting SID here on 36 Centre. They all do right turns not long after taking off. Sometimes you might see little weird things happen with the planes as well when they're taking off. That's due to the stream, the data stream that my plugin gets from another place. So sometimes if there's little glitches in that data stream, it can then make the planes look like they're doing weird things. So don't worry about that too much. One thing that this plugin is cool though is for example, if there's a go around in the sim, that means there was a go around in real life as well. A good example was another stream I did the other day from East Midlands, and an aircraft was just about to take off on the runway. It went down to the first holding point and then came off the runway again. So looking on flight radar, that's what the actual aircraft did. Must have had an aborted takeoff, and then it went round, taxied back round to the runway again, and then took off again. Yesterday I had at Gatwick, on the Gatwick stream, there was an EasyJet flight from Edinburgh that did a go around as well, which it also did in the sim. There goes the 737 flight there. We do have a 747 as well from Air China Cargo, which is behind me. So to end the stream, I'm just going to quickly pan around and have a look at that. It's not taxiing or anything like that. It's just parked up. But might as well end the stream with a Queen. Always nice. We also have an Aeromexico flight landing as well, which is a Dreamliner. Let's have a quick look around and see if we can see that landing. There's the air cargo there, and there should be there we go. There goes the aircraft there, and there's the Aeromexico Dreamliner just arriving there. So that we'll just end up just having a quick look at the lovely little 747 there, parked up, ready to probably do a taxi. This is obviously the cargo in area. So yeah, just a quick zoom out of Amsterdam. See quite a few aircraft lined up. I'll just do a quick overview of the airport before I finish the stream. Now this is part of a freeware version of Amsterdam you can get, which is an enhancement over the handcrafted one you get with the simulator. I believe you have to have the premium deluxe version to get the Amsterdam though in the first place. You can see various aircraft parked around here as well. And various aircraft there. I want to see if I can spot the Iceland Air one that popped in earlier. I don't know if that's going to be on here or not. There's the KLM Fokker, which is up at the viewing area, up in the airport there. Like so. So that scenery also has that. Also has the Amsterdam sign down in here as well. The there we go. Some of you might have stood next to that sign when you've been to this airport yourself in real life. There's various movements as well. You can see some A330s there. You can see a Turkish Airlines Airbus. So quite a few movements in and out of the airport there. There is a, what's that one there? Just about taxiing. Another Turkish Airlines A330 there. Taxiing out as well. So a quick look down here at the close-up at this Fokker here. There we go, some various people sitting here as well. Let's have a look. Mind me in drone cam. Got a person sitting here. I've actually sat, I think I've more or less sat on the same place almost. And then there's like somebody watching the planes. You can get quite a nice view of the planes from up at this viewing angle here, can't you? There goes the Aeromexico. You can see some different airlines there, Transavia, British Airways, etc. And various KLMs as well, and an EasyJet there as well taxiing, and an Airbus A330 that's just arrived from Turkey, and another one is leaving at the same time. Just about to see a Delta tail there as well. So yeah, lots going on at Schiphol. This is quite a nice little viewing area as well, isn't it? Lots of different places you can go and watch the planes in Amsterdam. The 747 looks like it's taxiing now as well. Anyway, everybody, I'm heading off now. So I hope you enjoyed the stream. Another aircraft there is just arriving as well. Looks like they're using 2 runways for arrivals. So until the next stream, which will be at Athens, probably tomorrow, I bid you farewell and take care. And thanks for watching the stream. Take care now. Bye bye.